Om Namaste everyone. Namaskar.
चित्तमूले विकल्पोऽयं चित्त अभावेन कश्चन अतश्चित्तं समाधेहि प्रत्यक्रूपे परात्मनि. The apparent universe has its roots in the mind and cannot exist in the absence of the mind. Therefore, concentrate the mind by fixing it on the innermost self. This is from Vivek Chudamani of Shankaracharya.
All the seekers all the time keep missing this most important point, that whatever we are seeing is coming from our own mind. Even to contemplate on this is so difficult for all of us, because we always treat ourselves as an entity dealing with this whole world around us, and we blame this world. The moment we realize that we have created this world from our own mind, then we should take the blame of all the calamities. People come, wars are happening, people are greedy, selfish, what should we do? Not realizing that it is coming from us only. Everything is coming from us. More you see greed, must be coming from you only. More unhappiness, more suffering you see, it's coming from you only. You bring this mind which is complaining to the source, and the source is us. And when this mind touches the source, it knows all fault is in me, not in the word, not in other beings, not in forms. I am at fault, the way I look towards things as external. This is the fault. It's a faulty seeing. It is not the right seeing. How many people in this world have the right seeing? No one except Gyanis. No one. Not the people you think most intellectual, scientists, thinkers, philosophers. No one. They are all in grip of Maya, in duality. Only the one who is non-dual sees the truth. And non-dual cannot find faults in others, faults in this world. He also cannot find a fault in himself or herself. Because these are all appearances, happenings. The moment we bring this mind to the source and it drinks from the nectar of pure self, it becomes contented. It becomes knower of the knowledge. And it becomes free. Free from this illusion that I am an individual, there is a situation in the world, and I have to find a God somewhere in heaven. All these concepts are part of illusion. Even religions are not free of this illusion. Even so many people who following path of religion are also not free. Recently, I made a trip to Japan and I had a good opportunity to see Buddhism, which flourished in Japan, going from India by Silk Route to China, then entering into Japan after more than 1,000 years of Buddhism in India. So there are places 1500 years old and different sects of Buddhism. And you will notice that even with this such a pure teaching, people have made concepts over concepts over concepts. And who made these concepts? It's like Chinese whisper. What Buddha said, he said to one, then the one, and then the another one interpreted it from Brahmi or Sanskrit to in Mandarin, and from Mandarin to Japanese, and everyone added their own concepts into it. And then what he wanted to convey and what was conveyed at the end, though there was some purity, but purity with some mix-up of ideas. And the one who is doer doesn't want to give up doership. So he took up the ideas and put up these ideas in their work, in ikebana, in bonsai, in calligraphy, in their theater, in paintings, in tea ceremony. So they developed beautiful art, beautiful life, beautiful culture, but kept the doership. So this life, taking up those teachings and applying to the day-to-day, has made a beautiful culture. But what is the end game? Is the doer there or not? Is there doer or there is self? So the individual so-called wisdom of people is not pure wisdom, because the doership stays. The freedom is from this ego. And the true and pure wisdom is egolessness, without ego, without claim for anything. When work is happening, but there is no doer. When beautiful things, creativity is happening, occurring, but there is no claim. You can still write your name that I discovered, I invented, but internally there is no attachment to anything as it's mine, my property. No patency. People have picked up from Patanjali Yoga Sutras, and everyone has put their name now. Can you believe how cruel it is? Someone is calling Bikram Yoga, someone is calling Yog Nidra. There is one person in America who is selling Yog Nidra, known for millions of years, calling it by a different name. And then you have to become a teacher, you have to spend thousands of dollars. Then you open your own Yog Nidra, but you call by that English name. Who is free from ego? Who is not selling spirituality? Who is in egoless state? You can sell a good teaching, you can charge money for it. You can make nice people out of it, good personalities, good work, good society. But is it moksha? Is it liberation? Is it real freedom? Is it free from samsara? Is it free from birth and death? That is the thing one should remember. If one is a seeker for that, for ultimate liberation, everything is good. I'm not denying that people have good brains, very good creativity. They can create something so beautiful that you have to appreciate. But for a seeker, there is only one thing. Am I free from the ego state? Am I liberated? Am I the knower of that known by which all suffering ends and all doubts end and every search stops and 100% contentment? If answer is yes, then you have done. But there is no one to say I have done, because there is no doing in it. It's only beingness. And this can only happen when we are empty of all concepts, all types of concepts. Bhagwan was a very strict teacher. I don't know how people take it, how much they understand Bhagwan. He was a very strict teacher in so many ways. And that strictness is full of compassion. People coming, staying with him, and after a few months, he will say, just stop doing all this ritualistic devotion to these idols. Just throw away in the pond. You don't need them. Or if someone is doing shraddh and he knows that he is so much evolved, no need to do all these things. We need rituals, we need concepts to start on a journey like this. But then slowly, when you get that wisdom within, they are like external supports. You have to get rid of them. Let's say you have to climb on a roof, you take a ladder and you climb, and then you carry that ladder with you. Now there's no need for that ladder. You have those beads, you do japa, you keep doing japa, 1 year, 2 year, 10 year. But if you're carrying that bead all the time, after even 10 years, 15 years, 20, that means that the japa is not going on internally. You still need external support. There is something wrong in your practice. If the practice is so intense, the japa continues within you. There's no need to keep using the external tool. All external tools are aid. But one day you will realize that self within us has made these external tools to support us to be within. And once you get there, you have a taste of it. It just takes over. Whatever practice needed, it creates for you. Maybe your unique way. Even in Bhagwan times, people who were doing self-inquiry, they had their unique ways of doing self-inquiry. Though Bhagwan taught a way, they picked up the way, but they did it in their own unique way. And it helped. Because we have to remember, everyone has that guru within them, which is the best guide. It knows what is best for this particular jiva, this particular ego self, to attain to the pure self. There was one of this Bhagwan's devotees who was from the royal family from Sweden, and he came at a very young age. In his mid-20s, he came to India to study the Indian philosophy at Banaras Hindu University. And there he took Diksha, and someone told him about Ramana Maharshi. So he came there in 1949, I believe, and he practiced self-inquiry for a few weeks and attained. And after Bhagwan left body, he left and stayed in a hill close to Madurai. There is a samadhi, beautiful samadhi. I think if someone gets a chance, they should go there. He was Swami Ramanagiri. And he had a small following of people there. And David Godman and Ganesh Anna, they have written some stuff about him, but not much in most of the devotee diaries in Ramana Ashram books. And he died at the young age of 34 due to tuberculosis in a TB sanatorium. But he did everything. He found that bliss within him. If you read his notes of his practice, he used self-inquiry, as Bhagwan said, but then he added neti neti to it. I am not this, I am not this. And then he added pranayam also to it, because he started with the yogic practices in Varanasi. He used to bring his breath to 1 or 2 breaths in a minute and then do the practice. And very unique way, he said to himself that he treated himself as a doctor and all the thoughts as patients coming to the doctor. So he said, today the doctor's shop is open only for 20 thoughts. Let them come. So the first thought comes and he gives this treatment to that. Okay, you go in silence, there is no need for you. And then next one comes and he again is treated with silence. He was giving same medicine to all the thoughts. And he said, now no thought will come. My shop is closed. It was only for 20 thoughts for today. Now I am in my heart. And then he used to do this self-inquiry of who am I, and then going back to the silence. He said this repeated practice made him so strong in his own self. And he said sometimes some of these patients were looking through the window to come in, though he has closed his shop. And he used to say the same to them, look, don't come, there's no need for you to come. I have listened to them, there is the same answer to all of you, silence. When he died, he was full of that teja and energy, and they say his anterior fontanelle opened and he left from there. The blood oozed out from there. And he developed a lot of siddhis before all this, because he came from a yogic path. And he had darshan of Bhagwan after Bhagwan left, and Bhagwan guided him where to go, where to stay, where to do tapas. Anyone who got liberated, even using self-inquiry, there's some subtle, different way they have done in their own way, which worked for them. So there's no need for any type of rigidity in any system of teaching. Acceptance is the key, whatever we do. We have to be very subtle. Fluidity should be there. Simplicity should be there. Rigidity is the foundation of religion. Not moksha, not freedom. Freedom is freedom to venture into this space in the way you want, or if you don't want. Rigid rules are not for this freedom. Perhaps I would say maybe initially people need some restraint, some control, but then after that self guides us in the best possible way. Believe on intuition than your thinking mind. Because thinking mind if you are trusting your thinking mind, it will always guide you in wrong direction. Because it is death to the mind, whatever practice you are doing. Why your mind will guide its own death to you? That intuitiveness in us guides us in the best possible way. That comes from that pure wisdom within us. Sometimes, if you rationalize things in your life, it doesn't make sense, but at the end, something intuitively takes us to the right place at the right time. There's no logic in it. Spirituality has no logic. It is beyond logic. So don't question it for any reason. Why things are happening, or who is coming, what form is coming, going, receding. Don't spend your valuable time in useless thoughts about things, beings, situations, your situation or other situation. Like most of the people, after dream next day, they don't put time and energy in interpreting their dreams. They know it's a dream. Same is this life. So bring all your energy, conserve it, and keep it in your heart. Just be an observer, a pure observer, observing, not trying to take anything out of this word. If relative knowledge is required as per your job, you learn it. You learn it without passion, but in complete full awareness, as an observer who sees that the body is engaged and doing and whatever is happening, but no identification with the job. Because this I am the body idea has to go. Body is the bondage. That doesn't mean you should kill the body. You should give up the idea that I am the body. And this idea will stay as long as there is doership. Because doership is with using your hands, using your brain, using this mind, doing something. Doership continues. Doership only dies when we become witness to all these actions, when we start abiding as awareness. It is actually very easy and very simple. It should just click to you. Sometimes it takes years to click, and sometimes it happens in a fraction of a second. Again, there is no logic why it takes too long in some people, and it is so easy for some other people. They listen and it's done, as if they were just waiting to listen to it. And some might have to keep hearing it again and again and again, and slowly they get it. Truth is actually on our face, it's straight. It does not need any secrecy or some layers of truth, and then in the next part 2 or part 3, truth is just truth. Good thing is we all are that truth. But covered in illusory forms. Let those forms be there. Please don't identify with those forms. Don't give them a name. Leave the names. Don't add I, me, mine to it. There is a name to the body, leave it that name. Leave that body. Let people call that body by that name. But you remember that you are nameless. And you remember you are formless. And remember you are unborn. This will end your search. Because what we are searching is the first thing. Everything is coming out of that only. We never count it. We start counting from ego, I thought. Stop counting there. Start from that zero, which is not a being, not a form. It does not proclaim anything. This is the problem with that awareness. So Buddhists call it shunyata, shunye. Shunye to a lot of people appears that zero, no value. I say this is, shunye means whole, complete, full. Everything is in it. Yet it is free from everything. Don't make any concepts of what I'm saying. Try to feel in your heart. Because you can write a book on self that is of no use for liberation. It should make some movement, some vibration in your heart. It should bring you to the source. Then it is important. Knowing the self, abiding in self, staying as self, you can still mix up with people and talk like worldly people. But the biggest change would be that awareness which you are will be constant companion. As if you are in the lap of your mother. So happy, so contented. As that eternal love has touched you in your heart. Now you don't feel any separateness. Even in solitude you feel complete, blissful. And there is no fear of anything. You become fearless. Because now you know something in you which is eternal. What is fear? Fear is of losing things, not getting things, losing this body, fear of death. But when you know what you are is always the same, then you become fearless. There is no other way to be fearless. Abiding in awareness as awareness, we realize everything belongs to us. Everything comes out of us. All is one. Nothing is separate. Living, non-living, everything. In ego, we live as a body. In egolessness, we live as everything. Everything is our form. And everything is equally important. So, no friends, no enemies. Only pure love. Impartial love. No family, no stranger. Only love. Unconditional. And no hierarchy in this love. Everyone is equal. No importance to anything. Everything is equally important. And because there is no discrimination, no gradation, nothing, that is why there is no thought. Thoughts are all about analyzing, criticizing, grouping, discriminating. But if there's nothing like this in awareness, mind has no role to play. There is no role of any thought. So thoughtlessness becomes a natural state. If you, by some grace, you touch pure awareness, this is a fire in which no thought can survive. Who entertains thoughts? Not awareness, not body. Who is guided by thoughts? The one who thinks I am the body. Who thinks I am the body? Actually, nobody. It is only a thought. And can you believe just a thought can give rise to birth after birth of so many forms? And in reality, in all these births, the awareness always persists as it is. It does not fade away. But that illusory I thought takes a ghost form which we call as ego, jiva, which is not me, which is not you, which is no one. Just an illusion. Because we have never questioned it. The day you question it, it disappears. It runs away. You can't trace it because it does not exist. Now, what not exists is not there, and what exists is always there. So you are free, free from delusion. People who hallucinate, they are seeing some animal sitting in their room or some man talking to them. And you give them quetiapine or some antipsychotic or neuroleptic, and that disappears. So take the medicine of self-inquiry and it will disappear forever. This ghost called as I thought. When we don't give energy to the I thought and doership, then it starts disappearing. And when we don't give energy to it, we are that. Because there are not multiple things what we are. Either we are playing in ego or we are free from ego. There are not many things happening around us. Maybe I can ask Neelakantan ji to read again what he read because that was so powerful. Only thing is, we read it, but we should contemplate slowly on it.
Give me a second. Sorry, I think I'm looking at a different page. Just give me a second. Just closed it. That's why I have to look it up. चित्तमूले विकल्पोऽयम् चित्त अभावेन कश्चन अथ चित्तं समादेहि प्रत्यक्रूपे paratmani. The apparent universe has its roots in the mind and cannot exist in the absence of the mind. Therefore, concentrate the mind by fixing it on the Supreme Self, the innermost principle.
Beautiful. So the word is coming from the mind. If you bring your mind to the self, to the pure awareness, then everything will settle. You don't have to fix up anything externally. But the ego says, no, no, I have to help people, I have to fix this, I have to fix that, I have to do this. What can you say? Fix this mind into the self. That is what needs to be fixed to know the truth. Otherwise, we will be trying to fix illusory things in the illusory world, and it will never end. Tell me one charity which was opened whenever it was opened. Have they done their job? Have they finished? Have they closed now? That we opened this charity for this thing, we have done it, now it is locked, we are closing it because we have done and dusted, finished. No. The charity becomes multimillionaire, billionaire. Their CEOs are going in business class, staying in 5-star. They have opened in every city of the world. They had now 100 projects. First there was one project. Unending. And doership continues. Wherever we are, whether we are working or not working, this inner journey can be started immediately by just observing. If someone is looking for freedom, complete freedom, immediate freedom, they have to be abiding in awareness all the time. Even if they can't, they should practice it all the time. During work, without work, with people, without people. And if internally, intuitively, they find some work, some people, some situations not conducive for their freedom, they should discard it. There is no cost bigger than knowing the truth. Whatever you have to pay, our mind only give importance to people and situations and job and things. The story of Ramanagiri I was telling, from the royal Swedish family, died of tuberculosis in a government hospital in India at the age of 34. Someone will think he is foolish, left Sweden to go to India and dying in a TB sanatorium. But what is dying is a body. The one who has to realize was already realized. There was some number of how much $1 million of worth he had. But who cares? That number is only a lesson to us who are always running for things. Self is our inner silence, inner awareness, which is pure bliss. It is devoid of mind, devoid of thoughts. It has nothing to plan, nothing to go, nothing to prove. No one to impress. Because you know what ego does? Ego tries to impress people. It sees its own image in society, in people, and how they think about me. And we live a fake life. We live a life what the society accepts, or what the people approve, or what the people would like, and what people we can give medals or appreciate to get a Nobel Prize, Order of Australia. If nobody remembers us, it's okay. But we should remember that all the time. Our remembrance to that is the key to freedom. Whatever way you can remember. The best way to remember that is to be that. This is Bhagavan's teaching. This is pure Advaita. And this is the direct path. You call it by any name or no name, doesn't matter. You can even give your name to that, doesn't matter. It has no name, no form. And it is you. You in the purest way, in reality. Not this projected word, projected body, projected thoughts. They are all okay. But first thing first, we should be in that which never changes, which is never hungry, never demands. It has no demand. And it is on its own support. It does not need any support for anything. It does not stay as or stays as reality because 10 people say, yeah, it is reality. It knows. It claims itself as it. It is not dependent on scientific evidence. Even when the science is not there, it is there. Even when the science proves the God is dead, it is still there. All our experiments, our research, all are in domain of ego only. All in domain of mind only. And this transcendence from the space and time is egolessness beyond mind. Pure freedom. Readily available to all of us. If we stay in our heart. Heart is symbolic. Heart, you can also say a center. But the main meaning of heart is to be in the source. Hridayam means the center, source. It is pure emptiness. We all know, scientifically also, everything is just empty. There's a nucleus and electrons are revolving in just free space. But then these forms appear in this emptiness. That means there is more awareness or emptiness in everything, whether living or non-living. This is proven by science also. Everything is surviving in this emptiness, taking shapes in this emptiness, changing forms in this emptiness. We are this emptiness. We are this shunya. And this shunya is complete. It's whole. Live in it, move in it, sleep in it, dream in it. Know that only as you. Pay all attention to that. And then what happens is, because it is natural, the practice drops one day. And it will drop one day. For some people, it is so hard to de-identify from the body. Same thing happens with a jnani after realization by a seeker. It is so hard to identify with the body. People identify themselves by their religion, by their culture, by their country, by their society, by their family, and of course by their body. We have so many levels or layers of identification. The moment we realize self, all other identifications drop forever. Some people talk to their body as third person. A lot of people I know who are established in self. It doesn't matter, but I'm just telling because a lot of people talk as a third person to their body. Whenever I speak to Salana, Salana loves swimming and she always says, this body loves swimming, this body did laps, this body did this body came. Even to my body she says like this body came, I was thinking about this body came. Because she speaks from the truth all the time. But even if you don't speak that is also okay, doesn't matter. Main thing is you should be into that. But it becomes very natural for people to speak like that. We started satsang few years ago, And I have seen such a profound change in some people, though I don't say in front of them, but huge change. As if something has completely transformed. And all credit is to their longing to know the self. This deep longing. This shows their purity, their truthfulness, their earnestness to know it. We are so fortunate that in our times, a guru came in form of Bhagavan, gave a very simple, easy teaching. I don't know for how long this teaching will stay that simple. Because in years to come, there can become more rituals, concepts, and I don't know. But still, it is still very pure and simple and easy right now. The other day, I was talking to Dr. Anand then from Ramana Ashram president, and he was also quite, concerned about this thing that this the twilight period of this teaching, where a lot of people can add some crazy concepts into it and might dilute the teaching. So it is a time of vigilance and keeping the teachings in their purest form, which is important. And some additions are okay. Like I said to you, even in Bhagwan times, people were using a couple of techniques, what works for them. That's okay, nothing wrong with that. Ellen wrote that Anandmai Ma spoke her body as a third person. A lot of people, yes, Anandmai Ma spoke like that. Papaji, Ramdas, from Kerala, he spoke like that. I know so many people in this group who speak like that. That's good. Because I am not the body. This is the truth. And I am not the mind. I am that I am. We all are that pure awareness. We all are exactly the same. The forms are all external to it. Situations are all external. These external forms and situations are coming from a conditioned mind which we are not. When you sacrifice this mind into the fire of self, we all become one. And that is the absolute truth. But who will do it for you? You have to do it on your own. You have to do it for your own self. And this is the time to do it and become one with that pure awareness. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.